Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna joins me now. So great to see you, Congresswoman. So, it's really amazing. It seems like the only thing that really gets Democrats out of bed anymore is fighting for their own power. They don't ever seem to be interested in fighting to actually fix problems.
You're completely correct, Charlie. In fact, that's why President Trump won by such a big margin, especially in this last election cycle. To just go and showcase what we've been able to accomplish in just this election cycle alone. Look, President Trump just secured a win with some of the largest tax cuts in U.S. history. Not to mention, he's going to be capping prescription prices. And also, too, he's continuing to broker world peace, so much so that literally hundreds of monks have nominated him, including world leaders, for the Nobel Peace Prize. So, look, I'm happy to be on his team. And it's unfortunate for the Democrats, but they need a complete rebrand.
Do you think that the Nobel Peace Prize Committee people will actually come around? Or at some point, I guess maybe they need him more than he needs them.
Most certainly, if the Nobel Peace Prize Committee knows what's good for them, they do the right thing and nominate him. But also, too, I think that Melania Trump might also have a nomination. I think that she's been very instrumental in discussions with Russia. And also, too, I think that she's going to be a key reason why we're able to broker peace with Ukraine.
I love that. They could be the first joint couple to earn the Nobel Peace Prize. And then even better would be if they then turned it down. One of the things that, as you know, in politics, politicians don't ever like to actually do things because they're usually afraid of the blowback or the snapback from anything dramatic that they do. And we're watching this effort to deal with criminal aliens in this country. Democrats are praying that Trump and Republicans will end up paying a price for that. What do you hear from your constituents and the people you talk to about these ICE raids?
Look, my constituents support it fully, and I can tell you that I live in a community that's largely based on a tourism economy, and so they understand firsthand what happens, especially when you are hiring illegals and it's depressing the wages. But I just want to point out something that the Democrats are really twisting themselves into not trying to explain to some of their older Democrat voters how it is that both Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama have the same views and opinions on illegal immigration as President Trump does, yet somehow if Republicans do it or if Trump says it, it's somehow racist and xenophobic. So I think it's very clear that the Democrats lost on the illegal immigration and open border policies. The fact is that the new left that exists today wants open borders. They don't want a defined nation, but that's exactly why we continue to win.
So we've been watching as Gavin Newsom tries to cosplay as Trump and tries to kind of come off as this tough guy. First of all, is he succeeding at being sort of a macho man? And do you think he's the future of the Democrat Party?
I definitely think he's angling for a 2028 run against the president, which is why he keeps trying to swing up at the president. But the fact is that Gavin Newsom compared to President Trump, there is no comparison because Gavin Newsom, as far as his policy goes, is a complete loser. But what I will also tell you is that as of right now, from the Democrat Party's platform, they are soul searching. I just think that, unfortunately for Gavin Newsom, according to his own party, he's too male and he's too white, which again puts him probably as someone who will struggle to get that nomination from his own party.
What about his attempt to be all macho? Do you think he's succeeding at that?
I think it's cringy. I think, if you're going to be genuine, you want to actually talk to people about how to make this country better, do that, run on that platform. But the fact is that he's trying to get too much into the clickbait social media influencer game. And as someone who knows that game quite well, and as someone who's now a politician, I will tell you that there's a certain time where you have to separate the two. And now's that time, Gavin.
Another thing that's kind of surprising to me is having watched Barack Obama's entire career. And, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, he was a rock star unlike anything we had ever seen up to that point. He's a shadow of himself now. I don't even know how much power he has within the Democratic Party.
Again, there's been this big split within the Democrat Party in regards to their own ideological warfare. Look, Barack Obama, compared to some of the leftists today, would be considered a moderate in today's Democrat Party, in my opinion. But I also want to point out the fact that, Barack Obama, after Joe Biden was elected, remember, they said that they were going to unite the country, and they actually, in turn, ended up weaponizing many federal agencies against good Americans, against Catholics, against people that simply wanted to do right and protect our Constitution. And so I will tell tell you that as far as Barack Obama legacy goes, it's completely been erased with this administration. We're going back to the basics as what really made this country great. And frankly, I'm here for it.
Indeed. It's truly remarkable. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
God bless.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.